So what I've tried to do is let's develop a way of observing and identifying these soft skills so that parents, therapists, counselors, teachers, all those people that are trying to teach them these hard skills, and then something's getting in the way and they can't figure out, well, now where did that come from? Well, why are they struggling? Um, and a lot of it has to do with these soft skills that we never learned and no one taught us or made us aware of. And that's the assessment that I'm hoping to develop so that everybody can look at it and say, oh, is the reason they're struggling, the reason they're not picking this up as easily as I thought, I'm not teaching them and they're not picking it up or not using it, are because they're missing some of these soft skills.
Hi, I'm Staci Neustadt. I am a speech language pathologist and the CEO at Making Sense of Autism, and I'm a student of Susan.
And I'm Susan Golubock. I am a now retired occupational therapist who has worked many, many years after I discovered even my own autism with other autistic individuals. I founded Making Sense of Autism because of my passion to not only understand my brain and how it worked differently, but to try to explain what I've learned to other people so that they're more understanding and therefore more accepting and more accommodating to autistic individuals.
So, our goal is to help you provide the right support without trying to fix autism, but by understanding it. So, whether you're a parent, teacher, therapist, or just someone who wants to learn, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe and join us every week. We talk about a new topic. Sue, based on your experiences, both as an occupational therapist, as an autistic person, what do you think traditional assessments are missing when it comes to understanding autistic individuals and how we can design something that actually supports their development and dignity?
Let me start with autistics do not pick up things intuitively like non-autistics. That's that area of the brain here that picks things up on a knowing level, i.e., you don't know how you know it. You can't really articulate what you know. You just know it. Those are the kinds of what I call soft skills that typical street smarts, if you want another word for it, that typical people pick up and they really don't know how to explain it because they've never thought about it in words. They just know. It's like the kid that asked the parent, why is the sky blue? And the parent says, I don't know, just trust me, it is. So that's where autistics are struggling the most. Because of our inconsistent brain connections, we can't easily rely on pulling knowledge. So we miss a lot too, not just we don't pick it up, but we're so focused on one aspect that we're not paying attention to other aspects. So when it comes to an assessment, typical developmental assessments are standardized on measuring concrete, what I call hard skills, skills that can be and are actually taught to children, like the alphabet and the tying your shoe and articulating difficult R sounds, etc. All of those things are called hard skills. And this is when you do a typical assessment, you look at these developmental skills that can be easily seen and measured that I call hard skills. And goals are typically looking at what can't they do, so let's teach them to do it. Mm-hmm. What everyone is missing and what autistics need the most are those soft skills, what I call sort of social skills, those street smart skills, becoming aware of things that everybody is aware of, but we may not have noticed, or we not tuned into it. No one's drawn our attention to it. Um, like the importance of being aware of other people's needs. I mean, we are so focused on just being aware of and meeting our own needs, it doesn't occur to us. And since under politeness, people don't draw attention to themselves, they assume you should be noticing it. Well, we don't notice it, so therefore we don't pick up on it, and then we get accused of being selfish and self-focused, et cetera, et cetera. So what I've done is created a little triangle of what I call the soft skills that will come at the very base is just a self-awareness. How aware I grew up so focused on meeting other people's needs that I never developed a sense of self, or at least I gave up whatever sense I had in order to meet other people's needs. And I'm still struggling with looking to myself as a person and understanding myself as a person. Body awareness. We have such low muscle tone. We don't feel our bodies, so we don't tune into our bodies and what it's saying. All of these things cause problems, but these are things that are processed easily and automatically by neurotypicals, or at least non-autistics. But even the sharing between in relationships, all of those are considered soft skills. So what I've tried to do is let's develop a way of observing and identifying these soft skills so that parents, therapists, counselors, teachers, all those people that are trying to teach them these hard skills, and then something's getting in the way and they can't figure out, well, now where did that come from? Well, why are they struggling? And a lot of it has to do with these soft skills that we never learned and no one taught us or made us aware of. And that's the assessment that I'm hoping to develop so that everybody can look at it and say, oh, is the reason they're struggling, the reason they're not picking this up as easily as I thought, I'm not teaching them and they're not picking it up or not using it, are because they're missing some of these soft skills. And that's the assessment I want to try to develop.
So I'm going to share this triangle that you're talking about so everyone can see. We do have to start at this foundation of self-awareness and acceptance. And until you brought this to my awareness, I didn't even think about that as being a missing component with some of our clients. I'm specifically thinking of a client that we see who's in his 20s, and we have been working on conversation. He wants to have conversation so much, and he wants to have those relationships. And he thinks, if I just comment on this person's video, I'm going to be their friend and things like that. And as we explored more of kind of the questions that we have in our assessment around self-awareness, I realized his self-awareness is very, very limited, because he's kind of had a life of everyone has done things for him and not with him. And so
Mm-hmm.
he didn't ever build that self-awareness that you talked about. So we're kind of going backwards now because we're like, okay, we've done all the strategies, that we recommend, and we've done all these things, but something's still missing. It's still not clicking. But now that we're bringing his awareness to himself and teaching him how to reflect on, well, how did that go? What do you think? How do you think you perceived that interaction? And having him reflect more on himself and interactions, it's made such a difference. And then I know as a speech therapist, obviously I'm looking at way higher up on here, functional communication. And again, I know especially in my younger years, I dove into communication. All right, they're going to work on communication because that's what parents want to see. And I don't care if they're 2 or 12 or 20, if some of these pieces are missing, and what I hear from, teachers or parents is they just don't tell me what they need, or they don't express their wants or needs. We do have to go back to all of these, kind of like what you said, soft skills. And then we start to see that emotional awareness, that those cognitive learning skills, the social awareness, and then we do start to see more self-advocacy, um, more functional communication of their needs and wants. But think about it. If we didn't have self-awareness, if we didn't have this sensory processing of like knowing we're hungry, of course we're not going to communicate we're hungry. And I know that's number one thing that many parents want. Just tell me when you're hungry, just tell me what you want. But if we don't have these things, so in thinking of all the different fields, we've got OTs, psychologists, even thinking about parents, where do they start, or what questions should they be asking themselves about how do I incorporate self-awareness into my profession, into what I know? Because I know people say stay in your lane, but with this, obviously, this is our lane. We have to start here. So where can people start in their own fields?
Well, consider that self-awareness shows up big time by age 2. Me, mine, I do it. That demanding it in I know what I can do. So obviously it develops well before then, because by age 2, they're starting to assert themselves because they know who they are. They know what they think they can do within their range, but they know I need to, don't keep telling me what to do. I need to explore. They're telling you what they need to do. Um, so much of this, all of these bottom stages are already developed by age 2. But for autistics, for the reasons I mentioned, they're not there. And yet we're skipping over them. And just because they're old enough to learn to say a few words, we assume we just need to move. Executive functioning, organization, planning, initiating and stopping. All of those are skills that by age 2, they know how to do that. You say their name really loudly and they're going to stop. You say go and they're going to go. They can do that, but autistics are missing so many of these skills. So what you really need to do is, if you see them struggling to accomplish something, then you need to go back and look at, well, what might be getting in their way? Do they have, i.e., asking them their opinion, not how do you feel, because those are abstract, open-ended questions that autistics aren't going to be able to answer. You have to give them literal and concrete, saying, did that make you feel good? Or did it make you feel bad? Now, we're going to know the difference between good and bad. And those are very concrete words. But now you're asking them their self-awareness of, how did you feel about what you did? Was it good? Was it bad? Now, maybe you don't have a label for it. I feel frustrated, and that's bad. I'm angry, that's bad. I feel great, that's good. You can start delineating it, but if they can't even answer the question, did that make you feel good or bad? Then they don't have a self-awareness. They don't have an emotional connection to what they did. They just did it. So those are the kind of things you're going to have to even say with the sensory processing. Was that too loud? Did you not hear it? You have to go back and check in with them to find out. And by just asking simple yes or no questions, are they even aware of with the cognitive learning skills. Um, have you given them the chance to explore by themselves? Learning through watching, yet right away we show them once and then we ask them to perform. Well, autistics may need more visual learning because we don't learn easily through somebody like auditory. Telling us what to do doesn't translate into making our body do it. But showing us multiple times, now what I see, I can mimic what I see. So you're building on what autistic strengths are. So you may not be teaching them in a way that they best learn. And that's getting in the way. So you've got to look at what their learning skills are that they can use. Social awareness and connectedness. How invested are they in interacting with you, in learning from you? Are they doing it just to comply, because, which is what I did? I would, the fastest way to get rid of people so I can be myself and be alone with myself was to do what they said to do. I did it and they were happy and went away. Did I learn anything? No.
And that wasn't connectedness either, because you were
That's
just
right.
complaining.
I had no connection with them. They were just annoying people in my way that I had to do things because otherwise they would get in my face and make it uncomfortable for me. So yes, if I'm missing all these underlying things, and now you're working on functional communication, self-determination, and executive functioning skills, I'm missing all the rest of that underneath it.
Now, can pieces of these show up? I know sometimes we might refer to our kids' skills as Swiss cheese or, spiky profiles, because some of these things do at least appear, or maybe we think they appear, but like you said, like you were aware socially, but that didn't mean you were connected. So can it look like some of these skills are developed, but maybe we're missing something?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anyone can learn through rote repetition, to learn to perform.
Yeah.
And yes, through rote repetition, I can learn things. But what value is it? I only do it when people ask it of me. I don't see the value or purpose of, I mean, what am I communicating with a smile? No one ever talked about what does that mean to them? Why do people want me to smile for the camera? So that I look happy? But what if I don't feel happy? This doesn't make any sense to me. So, and then they wonder why autistics don't generalize what they've learned. Well, because they've learned it, but they don't see the purpose underlying it. They don't have the foundation to understand why they're learning what value does it have to them. Obviously, it has value to the people that are trying to teach it to me. So I can rotely learn all kinds of soft skills where I appear to be, which is why a lot of autistics say I develop all these characters to get through life. I.e., we are performing a role that we have memorized, but it doesn't feel natural to us. It doesn't feel like it's a part of us because we have no sense of it being part of ourself that we know. We wouldn't act that way unless we were in the presence of other people. So yes, can we learn to perform? That gives you the spikes, but that doesn't mean that we understand why we're doing what we're doing. It doesn't come naturally or easily.
So this assessment is really kind of a supplement or an additional assessment you might use if you're not making progress in one of
Right.
the areas that you're working on. And as you mentioned, it's not that you necessarily need to, well, you might need to adjust the goal significantly, but you might need to just incorporate some of these ideas. And I'm even thinking this, we've been talking a lot about behaviors lately, and I'm thinking about behaviors as it relates to self-awareness. If an individual is trying to express themselves of what they like, what they dislike, but they are squashed as behavior, stop doing that. Don't do that. You can't do that. That is squashing their self-awareness. And so I love how you said a way we can start is by building that self-awareness. Did you like it or you didn't like it? If you didn't like it, what can we do instead? Or what supports, do you need these supports? And offering those yes, no. And that all is going to build that self-awareness. And those are definitely goals that I have started to implement with the individuals that I work with. Even like I like it, I don't like it, or like you said, it's good, it's bad, so they can start to advocate for what feels good to them or what does not. And really that comes from modeling. A lot of times, especially when I go into daycares, I say, I need space because all the kids jump on me. And it's funny, I've actually, when I go there now, I hear the little kids say to each other, I need space. And yes, some of these are neurotypical or, possibly neurodivergent kids, but they pick up on it really quickly if we as adults are modeling some of these things as well. And I feel like these soft skills can be picked up so quickly with modeling, so quickly. But I think as adults, we squash too much of this in children when they start to advocate for themselves.
We get stuck in this authority. I am the authority figure, you are the child.
Yeah.
So therefore you will do things my way, when I say to, how I say to, and that child, you're not giving them the opportunity to feel seen or heard
Yeah.
as an individual. Yes, they're going to comply, but they're not going to learn from you. They're not going to have that development of a social connectedness of, oh, I can't wait to learn something new from you today. What are you going to teach me today?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's like, oh, do I have to? Oh, all right. That's not what you want to help them learn. And it doesn't mean you put aside working on those skills that you need to as your professional background. I mean, as an OT, my kids would come in, and this one particular child, we always had you pick which activity you want to do first. Now, I never give them a choice of activities that don't address the skills I'm trying to teach them. But I give them opportunities and choices to make them feel empowered. Like, okay, you choose what we're going to work on today. Let's pick 3 things. And of course, to help with their organizational skills, I always had the numbers 1, 2, and 3 so that they knew how many they could pick of the activities. Well, today, this one particular day, the number 1 was missing. I couldn't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Well, he went into a meltdown. Oh, no, we can't do anything without, we've got to have it. So I thought, okay, this is what's getting in his way. The fact that I was being rigid in the way I was teaching him by saying, okay, we always start every session by planning, and it's always got to be a 1, 2, and 3. I wasn't teaching them flexibility. So he was being inflexible. It was, no, we have to have it. So of course I gave him the options. Okay, we could make a number 1. We could skip the number 1. Now I'm being creative and offering him options of how to be flexible and adapt. And no, it had to be a number 1. We had to actually make a number 1, cut it out, and put it in that spot before he was ready to move on. That I learned my lesson. Every single session thereafter, I made a problem. Something went wrong, and we had to figure out how to deal with it. I was now teaching him how to adapt, how to be flexible. I also became a lot more flexible in the activities I did. We didn't always use exactly the same materials or colors or whatever it is we were doing. Always something was a little bit different. This is what I called planned flexibility. And it didn't take long before it generalized to his home. And Mom came in and said a miracle happened. He was now, I told him something had to change. Today wasn't going to go the way it usually does. And he thought it through and thought, well, okay, now normally we do on this day, but today we're doing something different. But next time we'll do it that same way, right? And he dealt with it. No meltdown. This is what I'm talking about. stopping what you're still working on those skills, but sometimes something gets in the way and you have to relook at this stuff and say, uh-oh, what's missing?
Yeah.
Fix it, and you're back on track.
And I love that, sometimes, especially like myself, I'm very black and white, concrete thinker. We don't have to create a problem solving goal. I'm sure you weren't even it probably wasn't even a goal of his. You were working on other things,
No.
but you incorporated that soft skill. And that's what I'm hoping everyone sees, that you can work on those skills you're working on, especially building on those strengths, and incorporate these soft skills of self-awareness, of emotional regulation through problem solving, of social connectedness through give and take. So all of these tools that we have can be incorporated into your session to build on these soft skills, which will help you then achieve the hard skills that you're working on.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Well, everyone gets access to our free trial assessment that we're providing, where you can see it is organized in all of these soft skills we've been talking about. It just kind of gives you an idea of what to observe. And we will be creating a bigger assessment that will be available later this year, but we would love your input on what you think. And we also provide a way to make it standardized, but not standardized against others, standardized against the individual. We are looking at how the individual is making progress. And I know as a speech pathologist, I definitely have not achieved goals because these soft skills were missing. But this is definitely some skills that are needed. So thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Staci.